All right. Again, I always want to make sure I don't blow your ears out. And if so, at least I won't do it as bad. Let me know. Do we sound good? Mic check. We good? We good? Let me know in the chat. I see y'all early. I see there's a lot of stuff to talk about. I see that we're green, ready to go. How we doing? How we doing, everybody? Let me know. All right. I need somebody to let me know. All right. We're all good. Woo! We're all good. How is it going, everybody? Happy Easter weekend. The happy Xfinity return to the Rock. Let me know down in the chat as I get a drink of water. What did you think of this race out of 10? We'll read the super chats in a bit. We'll talk about all the big points of it. I don't even know which point you guys want me to go into first, but let me know out of 10 what you thought. I'm already seeing 8 popping in. Nice. I like the macaws. 7.5, 6, 7, 7. I like that. I like that profile. 7.5, 8, 9. 9 down to 5. There's a lot. Let's see. There's a lot of variance I can see people going on this because let's be honest. The first 2/3 of this race was like chef's kiss, everything you'd want from a NASCAR race. Last third of it, sloppy, insanely sloppy. A lot of people comparing it, even the broadcast comparing it to Martinsville, which is not a good sign based on how that race went. But let's look into the finishing order of this race. Jesse Love gets the win at the end. He has the fastest lap of the day, 53 laps led. Look at that crowd. Looking, they got the points all up, and I can take a picture of that because, well, I really don't want to copy it down later. Yeah. All right. He wins by about 7/10 over Sammy Smith, who led 9 laps today. Parker Retzlaff, career day in 3rd. Great run for him today. Harrison Burton 4th. 5th is Brennan Poole. So a lot of underdogs being up there thanks to the shuffle of the field at the end of that race and into overtime. Taylor Gray comes home 6th, 7th, Austin Hill, Josh Williams 8th, Jeb Burton in 9th, 10th, Danny Dye, 11th, Clements, 12th, Thompson, Brandon Jones 13th, 14th, Connor Zilich. Casey Kahne comes back to a 15th place finish. Could have been better. I understand. We were all celebrating Casey Kahne Friday on a Saturday. Wanted it to be better. Unfortunately, though, 15th is all he could salvage. Anthony Alfredo, 16th, 17th, Carson Quapple, Josh Balicki in the Rockford, Illinois car in 18th. Why do I point out Rockford, Illinois? Well, simply because that's the area I grew up at. So it's kind of weird seeing that car up there. But he comes home in the 18th spot. 19th is Ryan Sieg. Another race where it looked like he was in great position to get a win, but unfortunately just did not line up strategy-wise with that. And 20th, Patrick Emmerling. After that, in 21st, Kyle Sieg. He was the last one on the lead lap. Allgaier comes home 2 laps down in 22nd, 3 down for Smithley 23rd, Eckes 24th, about 4 laps off the pace, 5 laps down for Salas in 25th, and Sawalich, last one in the race car in 26th, 8 laps down, meaning everyone 27th on down was out of this race. It became a demo derby at the end, and we have Talladega next week. Sam Mayer, 27th, Matty D in 28th, Chris Wright, 29th, Annunziata, 30th, Austin Green, 31st, Sanchez, 32nd, Blaine Perkins, 33rd, Ellis, 34th, Greg Van Alst in 35th, Bonsignor in 36th on the day, 37th for Creed, and Catherine Legg finishes last. We will talk about Catherine Legg because I have a feeling everybody's going to want to talk about Catherine Legg after this race. So that is your finishing order. If you didn't hear where your driver was, I believe I have everyone's name spelled right. I know you'll let me know if I don't. I'm going to put it on the bottom line right about now. So there's the finishing order of the race. Again, this is like the story of 2 races to me. Yeah, we had a little sloppiness, a little bit of that in the first 2/3, and then the last third is a completely different one as well. Let's talk about, let's see, because I feel like we have we have the racing overall to talk about for the race. Rockingham, we can talk about. Catherine Legg, of course, we're gonna have that discussion. Ryan Sieg and kind of that battle there, as well as the finish of the race. Let's start on a note that we'll all like, and then we'll get to the finish. We'll get to the controversies and all of that. Let's talk really quick. Kasey Kahne coming back. I'm gonna be honest, as a fan growing up, watching Kasey Kahne since 2005 until his retirement, did not appreciate him the way that I appreciate a lot of other drivers. Didn't get the hype, all that. And so I just want to say I am so happy that he came back, that we got to see him run another race. I hope he runs more races in the future. And I'm glad that others kind of had a similar deal as to what I had recently, where you come to appreciate these guys more. These guys that kind of were there when you grew up. So I wanted to say that off the top, just so that because I wanted to cover it. We can talk more about him as we look into more points of the race. But let's talk about the finish. I think the last stage we can talk about. We're not going to talk about point by point. There's just too much, I think, that happened in this race. I mean, looking at it, we had 256 laps. We had 14 cautions for 82 laps. We matched Martinsville. 17 lead changes on the day, and 2 hours, 59 minutes, 37 seconds, a near 3-hour Xfinity race. So let's talk about the final stage. And I kind of look through that as we go because it was just a rash of cautions. I wish that NASCAR would keep their line on their website of like showing the green and yellow conditions because it's like my notes here are just every couple laps, caution, restart, caution, restart, caution, restart. And it was, a little annoying, I'll admit. I mean, yes, we did end up actually getting a clean finish, and no, I was not mad that he stole Budweiser from Dale Jr. Actually, the funniest joke I ever heard is at Chicagoland when a guard or a security guy had mentioned that once Budweiser went over to Kasey Kahne, there were a whole lot more drunk college girls at races chasing after him. It was the funniest damn thing I like to see in person. It was real. It was true. Looking though at this final stage, I mean, it seemed like it corrected itself before it didn't, because after that rash of cautions, you get Ryan Sieg out to the lead. And you know that he's going to be about 20 laps short. The rest of the field's roughly 10 laps shorter. And it's a total fuel lottery, fuel mileage race. I mean, you can tell that's the direction it's really heading to. And to Sieg's credit, I mean, he held off Love for laps after. I've these notes of 33 to go. He's beside him, and they're side by side, and crossover moves back and forth. Another battle with 25 and 24 to go, and even before then, he was still dogging him down as the 39 is saving, as the rest of the guys through the field are seemingly saving. I know the calamity, and I know that some of the controversy and stuff like that is going to take center stage, and I get it. It's stuff to talk about. But I want to say that the outside of the rash of cautions to start the final stage, the first two stages for the most part, and that long green run from about 62 or so to go until 24 to go, is exactly why NASCAR was correct in coming back to Rockingham, is exactly why this track should not have been off the Cup schedule for the last 20 plus years. It's exactly why so many people have been asking for it back. And I saw so many people saying like, really, we spent all this time in North Wilkesboro coming back, which I think that was justified too, when this track is even better. And a lot of people had been saying that for the last couple of years, like, hey, the Rock is better. The Rock was cooking some pretty good racing there for a while. But I want to really talk about that, because I think it's important to show that, this is a repave. This is a new track for a lot. It's a challenging track for a lot of different drivers. And I completely understand why truck guys, but especially now Xfinity guys, which is sort of been the sloppier series this year. I understand why they had trouble. I understand why we had so many cautions. Unlike the Martinsville one, the difference of this race and why I think this race is actually a lot better, though sloppier, though I think it's dinged down a little bit for the sloppiness, why I think this race was better is because the majority of the cautions at Martinsville were just people playing bowling with the field. I mean, it really was. It was just bowling with race cars. Whereas the majority of the cautions, at least from what I could tell this race, now granted, not all of them were justifiable, but a majority of them to me were because of the track, because they were struggling to keep up with the track, spins off of corners, not being able to hold it underneath people, difficult racetrack. It reminded me of the 2012 fall race in Cup at Kansas when they had reconfigured and resurfaced the track there. You know, I think that was the big difference to me. Was it pretty? No. No, it was not pretty at all. I think there's plenty of room for improvement, but do I think like the Cup guys would have this issue, even if the next gen was handling more like a Cup car? No, because I think they're better drivers. And this is a driver's racetrack through and through in so many ways. I one second, I'm just getting a text from someone. It's important. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm just making sure that I don't um okay, just wanted to make sure. I apologize. I just want to make sure I covered that while I saw it. But it was a driver's racetrack, and I think that whether the Cup guys are in the COT, the Gen 6, next gen, whatever, I think they'd put on a much better show. And you really saw kind of sniffed out. Granted, the fuel running out and then crashes from that. That aside, I'm talking just the pure spinning off the corner, racing issue, caution, stuff like that. You really saw who was kind of sniffed out as maybe not as good of drivers as the other ones, or guys and gals who were not ready to be at this level at this point. I think you really kind of saw the haves and the have-nots a lot in this race. Now, some of the haves got caught up in the have-not issues. Some of the have-nots benefited from it. It's not a perfect metric in any way, but based on the finish. But I feel like that's what you saw from a lot of it. And to that, I get it was a sloppy race, but we saw how good the truck race was yesterday. We saw how good the majority of the racing was today. I don't want that to be an indictment on this track, because I honestly still think a majority of what we've seen over the last 24 or 5 hours, however much it's been since the start of the truck race, has actually been really damn good, and exactly what NASCAR needs. That's exactly it. I want more of what we saw for like 80% of this weekend. Now, of course, that caution coming out with Perkins right front flat. We have a big split of the pits and different guys going, all over the place. We have the battle still with the 39 and the 2 up front on those final restart on one of those final restarts. Caution comes out saving Sieg, but Sieg ends up sputtering with 12 laps to go, runs out of fuel, and his chance of winning is over. I so badly want to see Ryan Sieg get a win. I can't tell you how bad I want to see him finally break through, get that victory, and see what else he can do, because he has done so much with so much less. He has accomplished and went so far with so much less than some of these other guys he's competing against. And I honestly think if you put Ryan Sieg in a competitive car in any series, he'd win races. He'd win multiple races a year. I think he's that talented and is able to figure out how to push his equipment just far enough. But he's an old school racer in every way. And because I want to see somebody like that rewarded, I want to see wins. I want to see him make it far, in the playoffs. He's like a team that he's like one of those B-level guys. He's not going to compete for a championship, but if random crazy shit happens, which this format pushes heavily, who knows what can happen for him. I would love to see that team kind of just rewarded is the right word. Rewarded for all the hard work they put in. Of course, him running out It's kind of like a Marcus Ambrose situation back in the day at Sonoma, where you run out, you lose your position, not maintaining speed. Race is over for him up front. The 2 and the 8 restart. 16 runs out, or at least sputters, and causes a big ass wreck. It collects the 39. It collects the 20. It collects, I believe, Allgaier, Quapple. Quapple is in just about everything. At that point, like, it's just, what we've seen and kind of gotten away from for part of the race with Calamity, it's back. Red flag is out. I believe that was the second red flag of the day, or it might have been the first. Yeah, it was the first red flag. We had 2 red flags in technically the last 10 laps of regulation. And at that point, you're just like, if you don't know who's going to run out, which is, again, part of why I love fuel mileage races is that you do have that chance, but it puts the driver and the team, it has it in their control still. With 4 to go, get it back going again. 88 spins, no caution at first till there's a crash. We go to overtime. And the 8 just gets moved by Love, who had a terrible restart beforehand, got washed up the track, fell back, gets back to third. I say fair on that move, personally. I personally say fair on the move. I get that some people won't like it because it's not, clean or anything. It's clean enough. It's NASCAR. Like, we've seen so many people that have just absolutely destroyed people. I give him a pass. Yeah, I mean, I totally give him a pass on that. I know a lot of people might not, but I thought it was funny that when Love is about to do his interview, is on the front stretch, has done his burnout, he didn't park the car and it rolled down the hill and the crew guy had to run after it. Exactly. That's my thing. Like, as long as he really didn't wreck him, or wasn't like trying to intentionally wreck, to me, that's racing. That's NASCAR for you. I just know all the softies on Twitter are going to be like, oh, we need to clutch our pearls. Like, whatever, man. There's plenty of stuff we can complain about for today. I mean, the rash of cautions, to me, that was, that to me, that was funny as hell, and also kind of bad. But the end, there goes his car. That's what I'm thinking when I think funny. That was funny. I thought that was just a nice, genuine moment. Just great. He's just a chill guy, Really quick, look at the stages too. I wanted to point out a few people that got some points. Again, we'll talk about the Catherine Legg stuff. I know everybody wants to talk about that. I will get to it, I promise. But I want to point out a few different people. Sanchez, really fast today. How many laps did he lead today? Where did he finish? Like, way in the back. Where I am completely blanking on where he finished, just because there's so much. 52 laps led, 32nd, not indicative at all of how good he was. Sieg, I believe Ryan Sieg led the most laps at 77. Yes, he did. It sucks that he didn't get the finish he deserved, but that at least lightens the blow for him. I mean, Parker Retzlaff today missed out on the pole by 1,000th of a second. Finishes second in the first stage, and I don't believe he got a top 10 the second. But great run with a third place run for him too. Absolutely what that team needed, what he needed driver-wise. Harrison Burton, great run, fourth. I mean, just he's been, for the most part, solidly clicking great runs off. And it's proof. And I'm glad that he's doing this. He's not in a great car by any means, but it's proof that he does have the talent to compete. I honestly think that he could be, talent-wise, and if he ever chose to, kind of like in that Justin Allgaier role, where he probably would win a couple races a year if he ran Xfinity full-time in a good team. And Brennan Poole, after the wreck that happened at Bristol last week, and the disappointment with the dash for cash and everything like that, avoids all the issues, comes out of here with a top 5 finish. Another great run for that 44 team, a much needed run for the 44 team. I believe, is that 2 Alpha? Are they both Alpha Prime teams? Is that 2 Alpha Prime teams in the top 5 today? Like, remind me, I might be wrong on that one. And then AM Racing too, top 5 finish today, needs that big time. Yeah. So 2 Alpha Prime teams finish in the top 5 today. Awesome. Absolutely awesome. I promise, Mom, I'll get to the restaurant soon. There's a lot to talk about. 3-hour Xfinity race. I love seeing that for Tommy Joe Martins and that team. Tommy Joe is a great person. Anyone who's been in the Xfinity garage knows this. One of the hardest workers out there, great people at that team. And I'll say this. I mean, if you watch NWP, which by the way, my channel this Wednesday, he's been open to explaining stuff, helping us out with stuff like that since well before we were getting any access or anything. Absolutely love that for him and that team. That team, it's just as long as nothing stupid happens, they are able to just, again, another team, and it's so much in the Xfinity series, another team that can just stretch a dollar so far and make so much out of it. And so many talented people there. So I want to make sure that I give them credit. I know not maybe a lower end team, but 2 colleague guys, top 10. That's been a team that's floundered for a bit. Josh Williams in 8th, and Danny Dye in 10th. You know, great runs for a lot of people who needed those. Other guys that got points in the stages. Kyle Sieg, he finished 6th in the first one, and 9th in the second stage. Really good run for him as well. Matt DiBenedetto, Jeremy Clements. That's just the first stage. And Clements and DiBenedetto got top 5s in the second. So good for them as well there. Anthony Alfredo with a 5th in the first stage, or second stage, I should say. So a lot of good drivers had a lot of much needed good runs. Now, on the other end of all of this, because again, we can go through all 14 cautions. So many of them are so similar. Of dude spins off 2. Another guy crashes behind him trying to avoid it. 2-car wreck. But let's talk about the big thing that happened early in the race. And the story kind of starts beforehand, and I want to give the full context of it. So Catherine Legg making another start this year in NASCAR, trying to at least go the Xfinity route this time. Probably a much better route to go about it. Misses the show. Now, it was not like she wasn't one of the 38 fastest. If you went off of actual qualifying speed, she would have made the show no problem. But I believe Greg Van Alst makes it in off of like the provisional of owners points. And he's like 2-3 seconds off the pace. I mean, just something astronomically slow. So what happens is JJ Yeley makes the race in the 53. His ride gets bought out by Legg's sponsor, and Catherine Legg makes the start instead. It has to be the car. Can't just be like, oh, we'll switch the number. She gets in the car and drives it. This is not something that is some political statement. This is not something that is NASCAR forcing to have a more profitable driver than JJ Yeley in the race, though I do think JJ Yeley should have been able to drive this race. This is something that's happened since really the beginning of NASCAR. Sponsors have bought out rides for years. This is something, especially in the lower series, has been prevalent for a long time. We've even seen it in the Cup Series. Jimmy Spencer talked about how his ride at one point was bought out for the Daytona 500. So full context on that. She had the speed to make it, didn't. Sponsor bought her way in. Rest is history. JJ Yeley is the big loser holding the bag at the end of the day. I'm assuming he probably got something nice given to him after the fact. Yeah. And it's not, and it's not even just NASCAR at that range as well. So yes, that's right. If you're a long time person to rip on Fox, yes. 2009 F1 champion, JJ Yeley. Justice for you. I love it. I love that Yaley's getting the love here. So we fast forward to about 3 laps into this race, roughly. We're on board with William Sawalich. 18 gets right into the back of Catherine Legg, crashes her, crashes Sawalich, crashes the innocent bystander that has no blame whatsoever to be part of this in Casey Kahne. And we have a whole new controversy coming on up. So I want to see what you guys think. And so I'm going to put a poll out here of who do you think was at fault? Leg, Sawalich, or both? And I get it. This is the fun part of these kind of things, of these post races, is we get to go over all of these kind of fun things right after it happened. So I'm just going to be short and then long with my answer. Short answer, I think both. I know a lot of barbs were being thrown at Leg. A lot of people that were on Sawalich's side. I don't think she was solely to blame on this. But I think she was majority to blame on this. And I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that too. I know as soon as this makes it to Twitter, that crowd is going to see it and get pissed at me for saying this. But I want to explain it here. Sawalich, to me, his part of it is, he just plowed right into the back of her. Other cars were making it past no problem. Other cars were right down on the bottom on the white line and were fine. They made it past her. No problem. Sawalich didn't. Sawalich had that problem. Sawalich has had these kind of issues before. So this is, I'm just saying, I think that that's his part already on it. And then you could hear though on the in-car, he got out of the gas and under the brake really, really early on that too, and still got into her. Where I think it's her fault is, as a lap car, you need to give more space. We saw Salas do it, who did not have a great day. We saw a lot of others do it, but just him in particular, I remember seeing a lot of people going way up the track. If they're going to slow down to let people by, get out of the racing lanes that they're going to be in. It's a very narrow track. I think a lot of people miss this because later in the race, the track sort of moved up, the groove did. But she was in that second lane. That is a racing lane. And she did slow down, going extra cautious into that corner. Now, she completely blames Sawalich. I get that. Sawalich is going to completely blame her. I think it's 75% on her, 25% on Sawalich. I think there's a little gray area to mix with this part of it. On the other end that people are talking about with this, outside of just the small one, the more big picture thing people keep talking about with it is should she have been out there? That's the question a lot of people have been having. And I don't think we'd have this question as much if she didn't also have an issue as a lap car causing a crash or being part of a crash at Phoenix in the Cup race. Nightmare 2 starts. Common denominator. Everyone's going to see that and point at that. To me, we're gonna keep having this conversation. First off, because NASCAR is so desperate to bring new names in, people all over. I think they're just basically, as long as you're not a complete dunce in everything you do, they're gonna be like, there you go, you're in. This also wasn't her initial plan either. The sponsor bought these races because of, I believe from what I read, that her Indy 500 plans had sort of fallen out. And to say this too, she's an immensely talented driver that does have a pretty good resume compared to a lot of people in the Xfinity field. I'm not saying she's a bad driver. Want to say that right off the top. But I do think she should have probably spent a little time in ARCA, or probably ARCA, trucks. I get that those are difficult too, but I don't think that we should have, especially when drivers before have had issues. I almost think that there needs to be at least a little harsher grading on drivers from other forms of racing coming to stock car racing, because every form of racing has its own difficulties. And stock car racing is no different. And so many people are shocked how difficult it is. And I'm not saying that she's one driver or another. I'm seeing a lot of people comparing her to SVG. No, let's comparisons. Let's move those out of the way. I feel like if a sponsor is going to buy up some rides, at least get her some oval experience. Phoenix, difficult track, multiple tire compounds, even that was giving problems to top line Cup stars. Not a good position to put her in. Rockingham, the repave already was going to make it difficult and make it narrow. But on top of that, Rockingham, and we saw it with just how damn fast these cars and trucks were all weekend. It is a difficult track. All right. So I I think that she got put in a horrible situation, but at the same time, I think that she needed way more seat time before this, way more. But it sucks. It sucks for her. It sucks for Kahne. It sucks for Sawalich. It sucks for the entire conversation and all of it. And I'm sure we'll talk about it this week. It's going to be the big talking point. But I figured I wanted to give my big point on it. Those are really the main points of the race. There were other little things we can talk about. But overall, I don't think this was Martinsville in any way, honestly. And looking at the poll, it's pretty even, honestly. 40% say both, 34% say Catherine Legg, 26% say Sawalich. So about what I thought it would be. So, but yeah, I mean, overall, I'm relatively pleased with the way the weekend went. Let's look at the super chats, and then we'll head on out. I'll let you guys enjoy your night, and then I got to meet my family out for dinner, so I don't want to make them wait too awful long. Let's see. A couple of these were sent in before we went live, so I'm gonna have to rewind and find. Okay. Garabuki for the 10 says, what the frick was like doing? She drove all the way down and nearly sideswiped Sanchez, then stays in the way of the oncoming top 5. She's not doing her reputation any favors after the Phoenix mishap. I agree. And I think she needs to have more experience given in different ways. I think this is also why we need more practice at every race. Whether some of these races have practice or not, you need more of them, simply for a lot of these inexperienced drivers, both coming into NASCAR and they're working their way up NASCAR. Snappy with a couple here says, give the CW sound engineer for today all the damn Emmys. I almost feel like I'm at the track. So freaking good. I agree. The only thing I didn't like is a remote booth. You're 80 miles away. Just drive to the damn racetrack. Snappy with number 5 says, first 2/3 of the race, absolute stock car racing bliss. Last third, knock, knock. It's modern NASCAR, bitch. Yeah. Napa Racing fan with the 5 says, the power of love is a curious thing. Make a one man weep. Make another man sing. Love the Rock's return. Xfinity drivers, not as much. Poor Sieg and Kahne. Yeah. A lot of guys that were victims of their circumstance and where they were. Twin Spinner says, Ryan Sieg's sadness club. It definitely. He'll get a win, though. He'll get a win. Marky Mark with the 5 says, let's all admit it. When we saw Kahne's right front, the excitement deflated. Still a decent race. I felt the same. I was pretty pissed that Kahne had that. And then also says, love was pretty aggressive. Guess I'll stay single. Good one. SW with the 2. They don't call it the Rock for nothing. 6 out of 10. Sly Supersonic for the 1045. You've got to believe in the power of love. You've got to believe in the power of love. It gives meaning to each moment in what our hearts are all made of. You've got to believe in the power of love. You guys are great. You guys are absolutely hilarious. I love all these. The super chats, the comments, all of it. Andrew with the 2. Leg is a lol cow. Need I say more? No, I mean, it was majority her fault. It's unfortunate, but it's true. Nap Racing fan with the 2 says, save money, live better, remote booths from NASCAR. Yeah, that's probably their thinking. Flying Cactus says, great race, 10, great finish for Parker Retzlaff. I see you're a little biased, but I do think it was pretty good. I love the username. And then, of course, my mom sends me these. They're out right now. I will be driving over there in a minute. It says, time to get chomping. Slow feet don't eat. That is a saying in our family. So I will be quick. I promise. And I apologize if I'm rushing it or anything, or if it's a shorter abridged stream. Just want to make sure, make time, Dominion 42 with the 5 says, this race was an absolute blast to be at in person. Watching Kahne make his way up front again and again was fun. It looked like the crowd was amped. And credit to CW. They did at least put a little crowd noise in at different points. Crowd seemed really damn amped. Absolutely loved it. And I hope I'll be able to see some races there. Guarantee they come back next year at this rate. Fred Dog with the 5 says, in Biff voice, you're supposed to sing like Huey Lewis. Now, why don't you make like a tree and end this post-race McFly? I love that. All right. And then Andrew says, it's hip to be square. Oops, wrong song. You guys are funny as hell. I got to say that. Thank you guys for all coming in. I appreciate it. I know it's a holiday weekend. Go enjoy it with your friends and family. Go enjoy the rest of your Saturday night. If you're not celebrating whatever you're doing tonight, I hope you have a great night, a great weekend. We'll be live on this channel Wednesday night. John Ramos coming on to talk with us. Going to be a lot of fun. I'll be on his channel Friday commentating the Alabama 500. And it's Talladega week, baby. It's officially Talladega week. I get it might not be the most exciting in general for some, but it's always exciting when you see Talladega coming up on the schedule. Thank you so much for coming in. I appreciate it a ton. Enjoy the rest of your night and weekend. I'll see you this week. Later, y'all.